All right, ready?
What are we doing today?
Okay, come on. We're going to talk about this article I read. So this article's old. It's from 2020, but it made me think about our adventures in Oklahoma City. So do you remember when I was
Where I
trying?
got the speeding ticket?
No, where I was trying to ship alcohol and they kicked me out of like a UPS.
Oh, that adventure.
Yeah. And then
Right.
because I didn't realize you couldn't ship alcohol. And then I went to a second UPS and the girl was raking me over the coals as to what was in the box.
Mhm.
And I told her it was baking supplies and cookbooks.
Even
Yeah.
though it was liquor.
It was liquor. And when we had lunch that day, I asked the waitress, why was I given the once over at 2 UPSs? I understand the one, they saw the bottle of alcohol, but the second one wanted to know an itemized statement of what was in the box. And she said, oh, Oklahoma has a weed problem. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
there's like some sort of underground or black market weed.
Yes, it's black market.
Conspiracy in
And then
Oklahoma.
literally a month later, Wall Street Journal came out with an article how Oklahoma is the biggest supplier of black market marijuana. Okay.
It's so great. It's like 2023. I didn't even think this was a thing anymore.
Isn't it insane?
It is insane.
This was actually in 2022.
I guess it's just because we came from California, but almost every state has at least medicinal use.
No,
right?
No,
So
not every
many do.
state. Not every state. But in any case, this was just, I thought it was crazy that I was given the once over. And then to hear that Oklahoma has the largest black market weed industry, I was like, wow. So I came across this article from 2020. It was about a grandma, 69 years old, who went to Walt Disney World, Orlando, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
She has arthritis, was there with her grandkids, was there with her great-grandkids and her husband. I believe she's from South Carolina, had a prescription for CBD oil for her arthritis. They made her dump her purse at Disney, which is Disney is also part of the problem here. They made her dump her purse.
Because they want every single penny in that purse.
Okay. Well, they saw her oil and they asked her what it was. She told them it was CBD oil for her arthritis. They asked her if it had THC on it. The bottle states it has no THC. She responded she didn't know. She didn't even know what THC was because this was a prescription from her doctor for her arthritis. She told them, I don't know. I don't think so. All she knew was that was CBD oil.
Yeah, THC is not really big in South Carolina. They're more like opium people.
All right. Well, that could very well be.
I'm
But
just kidding. That's a joke.
There was
It's
no
a total joke.
That fell flat.
Go on.
Any case, listen to me. I'm trying to tell you something.
Okay.
They arrested her.
I don't know why we're so serious over weed.
They took everyone out of Disneyland. All the kids were crying and they gave her a cavity check.
Oh, wait, what? They gave a granny a cavity check.
69 years old.
That was some sicko.
They
That had nothing to do with CBD.
They strip searched her.
What?
And gave her a cavity check and at the police station.
You are kidding.
No. So it made me think.
That's awful on so many levels.
Isn't it? It traumatized
Over CBD.
her. Traumatized her.
I'm sure it traumatized well, maybe it didn't. I don't know. Like somebody directed them to do this.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
So it got me thinking about this whole thing of you live in Oklahoma City. Let's use that as an example. Do you think you should be able to buy weed? I'm so torn over this because I'm not a proponent. I think it's a gateway drug. I've always thought that. I've never dated stoners.
Oh, we're going to do this now.
Yeah, I've never dated stoners because they were stoners. I think it makes you lazy. I think it makes you less productive. This is my opinion. I'm sure there are stoners out there who are like, I own a business. Well, you're a functioning stoner and good for you. There is a part of me, a big part that thinks it's a gateway drug. Like you were a stoner in high school. No,
I was a stoner in college.
College.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You met me. Okay. So you're right. You don't date stoners because you met me in my post stoner phase.
Yeah. I would not have given you.
It's okay. I didn't date girls that smoked weed anyway. So, I like being the dirty one in a relationship.
So wait a second.
You know this.
Hold on. If you had met me and I said, let's hit the bong, that would have been a turnoff.
We would have never dated.
Oh, you have some bad double standards.
It is a double standard. I will totally admit that. It's a complete double standard. I like being the dirty one in a relationship. There's just no other way to say it.
That's really funny.
I know.
That's really funny.
I like clean, wholesome American girls, even though I'm not a clean, wholesome American boy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I get it. So what are your thoughts on this? Like, do you think Because you did smoke weed in college. I keep saying high school. I'm so sorry. I know you didn't because you were in
I
football.
didn't. I
I know
yeah, I
you
did
did
not
not
do
do
it
that.
in.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I waited. I matured. I
Oh.
made an educated decision.
As adults, we don't do it. We are not proponents of this. Like we know a lot of adults who smoke weed, who take gummies.
I'm indifferent. I can't say I'm a proponent or an opponent. I don't like do whatever. I don't do it myself. I don't care if people do it.
Yeah. Like if you want to, I still think like, I don't know.
Oh, you're all
I
twisted
was
up
just
and
about to
nuts.
say, I was just about
You're
to
all
say
twisted up and
something.
nuts.
I was just about to say something
And
that
then
I
you
should.
thought of like your 10 friends who
Yes.
all take gummies.
I was like, I shouldn't say this. Okay. So I'm stopping right now. I don't do
Good
it.
call.
I don't partake in it. I am judgmental. Not going to lie. I do think of you differently if I know that you're an adult and you get stoned. Here's how I feel about it. If you have to wake up every morning and be in an altered state to get through your day, you have big problems. I think you should see a therapist. I think if every morning you need to be altered to get through your day, there's something wrong with you. That's how I feel.
Okay, great. I don't see it the same way. I think that weed culturally and societally has less of a damaging impact than alcohol does.
Oh God. Okay. So I don't know. I'm not doing stats with you, so I don't know.
I don't have stats either. You just like ambushed me with this topic, but I will say that I know plenty of adults who are. So I work in a creative industry.
Hold on. Stop right there. So is it okay to drive stoned?
You should not drive stoned. No, you should enjoy your stonage at home.
Okay.
Yeah. I would not say it's okay to drive stoned, but I know people do it. I would say that I work in a creative industry. There are a lot of people who are burners or, take edibles or what have you. We're talking artists. So a lot of people who in the art world like to dabble in a little bit of fun. I also know attorneys who smoke weed. So for me, especially being in California, it was like one of those things where we wanted to impart upon our children. Yeah, this is legal for everybody now, but it's not something we want you doing because we want you to be active, productive citizens. I do agree with you that if you're smoking weed to a point where you're not an active, productive person, then yeah, you should probably like lay off the bong a little bit. But I will say there are also a number of people out there for whatever reason, chronic pain, emotional problems, you name it. If a little bit of weed gets them through the night, who are we to say?
Oh, I'm fine with that. So I do have a double standard. If it's for medicinal purposes, I do think that it should be available for sure. I know people whose parents had cancer and found relief.
Sure.
So I would never vote against it, I guess. I don't know if I would vote for it. I'm not sure. I feel like, who am I to say? But then I have a lot to say about it, like with my own personal self. I wouldn't want my daughters in a car with someone that's stoned. I wouldn't want my daughters hanging out with people that are constant stoners because to me, I just don't think you accomplish a lot in life if you're always stoned. But at the same time, I don't feel like you should go to jail for it. I don't feel like you should be banned from Disneyland or Disney World because of it. Like her and her entire family were banned from Disney World.
That's pretty messed up. There's not even,
the
CBD.
kids were banned. The kids were banned. They were 10.
It's literally joint oil that she was taking. It had nothing to do with being high.
I think there's a time and a place for it. I don't know if there can be a one, like, this is so right and this is so wrong. What do you think? I don't know. Like, I don't think people should be in jail over it.
I think arresting people over marijuana use is the stupidest
Most
form of using tax dollars. The war on drugs is so.
Is there even a war anymore?
I'm going to use the word
I don't think
chronic. The word the war on drugs is so chronically over at this point. Nancy Reagan's principles have lost.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And we're talking about cities where meth heads are smashing every single window to get their next $10 worth of smack or whatever.
Do you think weed is a gateway drug? Do you think people
No.
that are meth heads used to smoke weed?
Maybe, but that doesn't mean weed's like weed wasn't a gateway drug for me.
Do you think people? So you don't think people should be in jail over it either?
I think it's such a low level issue at this point in the United States. Like really, we have an opioid crisis. We have all these synthetic drugs that are so times 1,000 on steroids. Like literally compared to weed, they are the most aggro drugs. If somebody wants to chill out in their living room and watch 30 episodes of South Park in a night, then yeah, let them do it. Let them smoke up. What's the big deal? I just don't understand. It's not a gateway drug for everybody. Are there people who use it too much? Yeah. But then you would talk to some weed heads and they'd be like, well, these guys that I know drink 5 days a week or 4 days a week.
Yeah, but I'm not okay with that either.
But legally, the United States, it doesn't matter if you're okay with that or not. It's legal for somebody to drink 5 times a week.
I know. That is true. I don't know. I don't know. I just, how would you feel if we have 3 girls, one of them's a total stoner and ends up being an adult stoner?
Well, there's nothing I can do because I've done my best and,
Would that bother you?
Yeah, of course it would
But
bother
why?
me. I just, I want them to not feel like they can't be a representative of themselves without having to do that. If it's a recreational thing, they come home at night or whatever. I wouldn't want a kid that gets baked before they go to work. No, I don't. I generally tend to, in an office place, back when I had one, I generally tended to not appreciate people that came back from lunch smelling like weed.
Why?
I just feel like it's your place of employment. You should be on your toes. And, sure. I worked in television. It's not like we were driving forklifts. We weren't, operating a jackhammer or using dangerous equipment or anything like that. But for me, it's like, some people would argue that's the way they can give their employer their best work. So some people don't even think about it. They've been doing it so long. It's just part of who they are,
Do you still consider it a drug if you do it every day? What would you say?
I would say there's some sort of psychological thing going on. Yeah. If you felt like you needed to use it every day.
Right. No, my question is.
Yeah. In that case, yeah, it's a drug. Yeah.
But do you think people who take it, the people who go to I'm just using this as an example. I don't know who these people are, but let's say your coworkers get baked every single lunch time and their reason is it makes me more productive. Do you think they consider it a drug? I consider weed a drug. I mean, I do. I think it's a drug, but do you think people who take it every single day, like drinking a cup of coffee, would consider they're taking drugs every day?
But
if you called them a drug addict, they would disagree wholeheartedly.
Probably.
But
yeah.
It's a drug, right?
It is.
And
so
you need to take it, and you need to take it every day, right?
Caffeine has withdrawals. Weed would have withdrawals if you're doing it that often. Yeah. I mean, yeah, in that case, it's a crutch for sure.
So you would be a drug addict.
Yeah, I would say if you require weed to do the basic minimal sort of adult functions every day, yeah, that's a problem. Unless you've had some sort of PTSD or some sort of if it's prescribed, really prescribed, and we all know everybody gets their medical cards and so many people are not medicinal users. I get all that. There's a lot of gray area. There's a lot of nuance and everything. I'm still of the mindset though, that just because you're a weed head doesn't mean you're going to be laying in an alley shooting heroin in a couple years. I don't buy that at all.
I disagree. I think if you're a teenager,
really? Then explain me, because I smoked a lot of weed in college.
I think you're an exception to the rule. I'm sorry.
I think I am the rule, and there are exceptions that go into deeper drugs, and they probably have addictive personalities or family trauma or socioeconomic indicators that mean they're going to head down that path.
Okay. Do you think grandma should have had a cavity search?
I don't think any grandma ever should have a cavity search, even if she is a drug mule. At Disney World, of all places?
No, it's like the most beautiful place on earth.
The happiest place on earth.
That one too. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's our Nothing Got Solved for the day.
Oh, nothing got solved. I like it. We're going to call it that. You just puff past a whole new genre of Skip Down.
Empty nest, full tank.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.